My name is Harriet Rossetto, and I'm the founder and director of Beit in Los Angeles. I grew up in Paterson, New Jersey in the 40s and 50s. I'm 73. And my mother told me recently that I was a missionary child. And I've been in search of a mission for a lot of my life. That's really what's defined my quest. And I couldn't find it for a lot of years, and I looked for meaning in love, and I looked for meaning in parenting, and I looked for meaning in being a social worker, but I was always dissatisfied and in search of the thing that had my name on it. I was jealous of, my first heroine was Eleanor Roosevelt. I was jealous of people who seemed to know what it is they were called to do, and I couldn't find that thing. And so a lot of my life was spent, I think, feeling empty and dissatisfied and negative, and life is hard, and then you die. I was I was a young mother in the '60s. I was part of that whole movement, and never finding how to put my pieces together. They were always at war with one another, my inner parts, until Beit. So this has been my place of wholeness and of healing, and of finally feeling that my calling came to me. I can recall, actually, because I didn't have it for a very long time, or at least I had faith only in negative things, right? My faith was that nothing good would happen really, and that you could always count on being disappointed. And when that changed was the whole way in which I found the calling. When I went to see this woman who was a metaphysician and science of mind lady, and I was at a really down place, a bottom, I think, in my own life. Had no idea what to do. I'd left social work. My one child had gone off to college, and I thought, well, that's it. There's nothing more for me. So before I killed myself, I went to see this lady, and she said, "What is it that you want?" And I never saw any kind of spiritual help. I considered myself an atheist, at least an agnostic, a cynic, a skeptic. This was not for me, but I was pretty desperate. And she said, "What do you want?" And I said, "Well, that's my problem. I don't know what I want. What I want is I want to know what I want." And she said, "Do you pray?" I said, "Lady, come on, pray. I'm an intellectual. I'm a Jew. I never prayed in my life." And she said, "I'm going to pray for you." The person, so she said, "Father of the universe, take this woman by the hand and guide her to her rightful work. She knows she wants to do something to make a difference. She doesn't know what it is." She said, "That's it. Now you pay attention." A little hokey, but I was unemployed, and I was looking in the WAN ads, and I had left social work. I wanted to do something else, make a lot of money. And something said to me, "Well, why don't you see what social work has to offer?" And in retrospect, that was the still small voice, I think. And so I looked, and there was this tiny little ad. It was the smallest ad on the page, and it said, "Person of Jewish background and culture to work with Jewish criminal offenders." And that was my moment. Every time I retell it, and I've retold it a lot over the years, the hairs on my arms stand up, that they call in the program God bumps. And I thought, oh shit, this is it. And this worked. This worked. And I made a very rational decision to call that divine calling, to call that a moment of faith. That this woman prayed for me, and I was guided, and it was mine. This was it, what I had been searching for. And that changed everything for me. And that gave me staying power, because every time I wanted to quit in this whole process or the negative voice got strong. I remembered that there was a divine thing at work here, and if I just stuck with it, the answer would come, and that sustained me for 25 years.
So what happened after you read the ad?
So I read the ad and I went down for the interview, and when you go with the kind of surety that comes from knowing you've been divinely sent, you present yourself in a certain kind of way. I didn't tell them I was divinely sent because it was a mental hospital. I didn't want them to lock me up, And they hired me, and I started visiting Jewish people in jails and prisons. And I was hooked from day one, These were my people. And I saw myself as the translator, the person who knew them and identified them with them, but who was, from the right side and could translate. And there was nowhere for people when they came out. And so I got this notion to start a place, a Jewish home where people could come when they got out of jail or prison and could, re-enter life and heal from their addictions. So I wrote a grant for a one-time purchase, and we bought an old house down near the barrio. It was part of a mental health complex called Gateways Hospital. And I had no operating budget and no staff, so I moved in. And that was it. That was almost 25 years ago. And in the course of things, I met Mark, my husband now, was then an inmate in a state prison, who is now a rabbi, and we do this together. And we built a community and a family here, really. I mean, a place where I feel connected. I had never felt connected anywhere. I always felt I didn't belong in the worlds in which I found myself. So this is my place, too. And as in this book I just showed you, Golden States of Grace, the title of my oral essay is Queen of the Misfits. And I like this title.
What does it mean to be Queen of the Misfits?
Well, I always felt like a misfit, and it always was a negative thing. And I think this place is a place where misfits fit. Hence, Queen of the Misfits. Well, the faith I have today is that, not that if I'm a good girl, good things will happen. I mean, I know that's not so. But the faith I have is that whatever hand I'm dealt or whatever I need to deal with, I will also be given the strength and the support to deal with it. I believe that. I believe that only because I see that other people find that place. And I think I've invested enough in my own spiritual, emotional development that after I screamed and hollered and pissed and moaned, I would come to a place of acceptance and strength. And that I would tap into that benevolent power in the universe that would help me do that. Oh, I mean, I lose my sense of I can do this a lot. Every time there's a new challenge, or somebody hurts me, or I think I've been really stupid, or I put my faith in somebody who disappointed or betrayed me. The only thing that really allows me to continue, I mean, sustainability is the issue here, A lot of people have great ideas, but sustainability is a whole nother matter. And I do rely on God for that, and reminding myself that I can't quit. I'm going through one right now, actually, and I can't be really specific about the players because one of them is a member of our board, but I'm involved in a situation that I didn't know how to handle. That was very tricky because this person is bigger than I am in terms of the power structure, and doing something that I know isn't right, that, I had to find a voice that could be assertive without honoring the politics of the situation. Um, I had to not come from anger or hurt or all those things I was feeling, or fear, tremendous fear I had of the whole situation, still have. And I'm looking, for how to proceed, and calling on the right people who I also see as part of how God works, is sending people that I think are my posse, not acting in haste, praying for guidance, really, not to mess this one up. My faith is an intellectual thing for me. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but even when I don't feel it, I believe it. I don't feel it a lot of the time. I feel on my own. I feel alone. I feel I have to be the one always who is the peacemaker and the solution maker, and I don't have the luxury of reacting or acting out, and poor me, who's going to help me. But I have an overarching belief that I'm being divinely guided. I don't know how else to say that. Even when I don't feel that, I know that to be so. And that gives me what I need to come in the next day and take care of what needs to be taken care of, rather than scream and holler and throw things and pull the covers over my head, which is still a very strong force I have within me. Does that make sense? Oh, I'm most grateful. The work and love, Freud says, right? So I love my work, and I work with my love, and I always wanted a partnership of that kind, a relationship that was built around a shared mission and a shared passion. That always seemed to me the highest that life had to offer. And I have that. So if nobody else has benefited from Beit Tshuva, I benefit every day. I am extremely grateful that I have found a way to make an impact, to do something I love with people I love doing it with, and get rewarded for that in many ways. Respect, money, attention. Yeah, I have a message. I didn't find it till I was in my 50s. Don't give up, you know? If you we changed our tagline here a few years ago, really, from healing addiction to recover your passion, discover your purpose. I think that's what life is about. And I lived without that for a long time, and then I found it, and I have held on to it. And so that's my message. If you keep looking, you will find it. Or it will find you. This is also a love story. I think both of us were people who thought we were not lovable and that nobody would ever love us or know us. And we are an unlikely pairing. I'm 14 years older than Mark. He was in prison when I met him. I mean, this did not have you know, a good beginning, really, a lot of people would think. And and to be known and to be loved for who you are, and to have the somebody who wants to work through the effort of loving, is also a very great blessing. And we work together and live together. And we survived 20 years of marriage, which I think is a great miracle.
Mescador.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I think I've sort of said it all. Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank
doing this.
you. Thank you for caring. Thank you.